Hello, welcome back to Math Made Possible. I believe I can. I'm your current teacher, Miss Howard, and today we're going to be reviewing Illustrative Math's 5th grade curriculum for Unit 2, Lesson 12, and this is a summary. All right, today we're going to be decomposing rectangles to find their area. All right, so we're going to be talking about two things here. Two problems. Our first one says, Noah's garden is 5 yards by 6 1/4 yard. Draw a diagram of Noah's garden on the grid. All right, so when we did this in class, we used our pencil to shade. So we're going to first begin by labeling our 5. And we're going to label this side 6 1/2. Now I want to go ahead and label, but let's go ahead and review some key components to finding the area of a rectangle. And if you don't have this in your notes, please go ahead and write it. All right, so the first thing that we have to do is identify the whole number, side length. Then we need to, let me put some stars so you can see it. Okay, then we need to identify the fractional side length. Then we're going to multiply length times width to find the area. Now I'm going to break down a few more things down here. In this one, we're going to have to do something called decomposing. And decomposing basically means that we're going to need to break it apart. And let me go ahead and draw a model right here, right on this sticky, so you can see this. So for example, 6 1/2 can be decomposed into, I'm just going to draw a line straight from it, into 6 on one side and then 1/2. All right, now we're going to get back to the math in just a second. I want to go ahead and proceed with our diagram. All right, so this side said this side length has a 5. So as you can see, these little ticks right here, this tells you what represents one whole. Okay, so this part represents one whole, this part represents one whole. So that's basically like 1 cubic unit. All right, now we're going to go ahead and continue. So if that's 1, we're going to keep on going until we get to 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's go ahead and do our other side. This says 6 1/2. This still counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it says it should be 1/4, not 1/2. Let me erase that. That'll be 1/4 right here. And I'm going to go through and let me change my color to purple. Let me go ahead and make this 1/4. And how do I do that? All I'm doing is drawing a strip. You could go ahead and partition it if you want to, but it's basically going to equal to 1/4 of that, which is one small strip, right? Now that we know that's where our ending point will be, I'm going to go back and continue highlighting all the way through to finish my boxes. Now this is easier if you're using a highlighter within your book so that you can see it better. Now I'm going to do this 2 ways. The first way involves the decomposing, which is the basis of the lesson. We have one side length of 5. That is our whole number. So our whole number is 5. And our fractional side length is 6 1/4. Now let me go ahead and make my correction right here because it was 1/4, not 1/2. Now, whenever we're decomposing, we break those two numbers apart, and we're going to attach that understanding to when we're multiplying. So we're going to multiply the wholes first. So that will be 5 times 6. That equals 30. Let me make it clear for everybody. Let me type first. Multiply the whole times whole. And that will be 5 times 6. And that equals 30. Next, we're going to multiply. Let's see if I could do another text. Well, I won't be able. Let's do another text box. Next, I'm going to multiply the whole times the fraction. Remember, we decomposed, right? So that's basically going to be 5 times 1/4. And that equals 5/4. I do want to write this vertically so that you guys can see it, but just know when you're typing on the computer, that's how it's going to appear. That's going to equal 5/4. And students, when you did this in class, remember that in order to multiply a whole number by a fraction, you can put a 1 underneath it to help you remember better. And then we tell our story. Since we have more than 4, we're going to go ahead and build a house for 5, or make it divided. And we're going to ask ourselves, how many groups of 4 can I make in 5? That will be 1. And 4 times 1 equals 4. And then I'm going to subtract. That will be 1. And then I'm going to bring that 1 up here because that's part of my answer. That means that we have 1 and 1/4. Now let's go ahead and circle our answers. We have 30 up here, and we have 1 and 1/4 right here. Well, that's not our final answer. Our final answer, let's go ahead and change our colors. Our final answer will be 30 plus 1 and 1/4. Which equals 31 and 1/4. So let's go ahead and write out those important details again. Of course, we identified the whole number side length, which is 5. We identified the fractional side length, which is 6 1/4. And then we are multiplying to find our area, which is length times width. And in order to do that, we're going to have to decompose our 6 1/4. The 6 1/4 becomes a 6 and plus a 1/4. Now our next step is to multiply those two whole numbers. 5 times 6, that will give us 30. Then we're going to multiply the whole number times the fraction side length. That would be a fraction portion of 6 1/4. That would be 5 times 1/4, which equals 5/4. And that will give us an answer of 1 and 1/4. And our last step, let me go ahead and type this portion out because I don't want anybody to miss this. You're going to add the products to add the partial products, because both of those are called partial products. Add the partial products PATIAL, partial products, to find the total area. And so that's this portion right here, which is 30 plus 1 1/4. That gives us 31 1/4. All right, let's try another one. All right, so one of the strategies that I can tell you is to start off by writing out your steps so that it is easy for you to understand, and that will help you just keep track of what you're doing. All right, so the first thing I would say again is we're going to identify the whole number, side length. Then we're going to ID the fractional side length. Then we're going to I'm going to put decompose our fractional side. And after we decompose, we're going to multiply to find the area. And how do we multiply to find the area? First, we're going to, let's put a slash, we're going to multiply whole times whole. Then we're going to multiply whole times fraction. And then after that, we're going to add the two partial products. Okay. Now let's go ahead and label. So we'll have 6 on this side, and then we'll put 5 1/4 at the top. And just like we did before, we'll begin by finding our one side length, our whole side length first. So this is 6 on this side, so we'll count down 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this whole side is 6. And then this is 5 1/4, so that's 1. Remember to still count this 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says 1/4. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our little pencil, and we're just going to make a little sliver to represent 1/4. Does it have to be absolutely accurate? No, but you do need to make it as equal as possible. You shouldn't have most of this shaded. You understand? All right. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to highlight all of this. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to follow my steps. I've already identified my fractional and my whole number side lengths, and now let me go ahead and decompose. So I'll take 5 1/4, and I'm going to break that apart into 5 and then 4. Oh, no, thank you, beauty. 5 and then 1/4. And now I'm going to go to my next step. Now that I've decomposed my fractional side, I'm going to multiply my whole number times my whole number. So as we can see here, the 5 is our whole number for that fractional piece, and 6 is going to be the whole number for the other side length. So it'll be 6 times 5, and that's going to equal 30. And then we will multiply 6 again times our fraction, which is 1/4. and that will give us 6/4. And don't forget, we're going to need to change our improper fraction into a mixed number. So we drop that 6 into our division house, and we ask ourselves how many groups of 4 we can get in 6, and that will be 1. And then 1 times 4, that equals 4, and 6 minus 4 equals 2. And so that will give us a partial product of 1 and 2/4. Now we do, let me show that, move my arrow so that you can see that. Now let's go ahead and do our final step, which is to add the partial products. So that will be 30 plus 1 and 2/4. 1 and 2/4. That equals 31 and 2/4. Okay. Hopefully by writing out our steps, that helps you understand it a little bit better. This is different from our last lessons, which just had us doing one step, which was multiplying straight across. This time you're going to have to decompose and multiply twice, then add those partial products. All right, I do thank you all so much for joining me today. If you have not done so already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on our next video, which will be lesson 13. Have a great one.